Hi students, welcome to the second part of haloalkanes and haloarenes. In the last session, I have taken the first part of haloalkanes haloarenes, in which we discussed 5 questions from previous and NEET papers. And in this part, I am going to discuss 10 questions from the same topic, haloalkanes and haloarenes. Okay, let us start. The first question, which appeared in 2015 NEET paper. Okay, let me take the question now. In an SN1 reaction on chiral centers, there is, okay, the question based on stereochemical aspects of SN1 reaction, and you can see the options given there: inversion more than retention leading to the partial racemization, 100% retention, 100% inversion, or option D is 100% racemization. We already know in SN1 mechanism it's having 2 steps. First step is ionization and the second step is attack of nucleophile. Okay, the first, if we take now ionization step here, I taken Rx, and Rx should be optically active alkyl halide. Okay, if we take stereochemical aspects, that's one of the conditions. So should take start with optically active alkyl halide. And if we take the first step now, ionization step here, we are going to break the bond right here between carbon and halogen. So once it breaks, it results in formation of intimate ion pair. Okay, now the meaning of intimate ion pair is nothing but the 2 ions what you got here, this carbocation R plus and halide ion, it's not completely separated. So they're very close to each other now. So if it is very close to each other, the species, what you can call this as intimate ion pair. And before getting separated completely, this alkyl halide exists in the form of intimate ion pair. So now what happens, the nucleophile can attack even to the intimate ion pair also, because it's having a carbocation R plus here, but the nucleophile will approach to the carbocation from only one side, that's from the back side, but not from the front side, because the front side we got X minus present here, which is electron rich, so both will get repelled, right? So that's the reason why nucleophile will attack only from the back side. So we already know if a nucleophile attacks from the back side, it results in the formation of like inverted product. Now what happens, as the time goes on, it gets separated into the 2 ions now, R plus and X minus. Right now, if you're having R plus, so the nucleophile is having both the possibilities now, right? It can attack from the front side like this, or even from the back side also. If it attacks from the front side, it leads to retention of configuration, and if it attacks from the back side, it leads to the inversion of configuration. Now if we see the complete picture here, what happens, so in the first, in intimate ion pair, nucleophile attacks only from the back side, and once it gets separated completely, it attacks from both the sides. So it means we are having more inversion compared to retention. So what you can write now, if you take SN1 reaction with any optical active alkyl halide, there will be more inversion than retention. So it's not 100% racemization, there will be more inversion compared to retention. So the right answer for this question is option A. Okay, the next question now, which appeared again in 2015 as cancelled examination. Okay, so let me read the question now. The reaction of C6H5CH double bond CH CS3 with HBr produces. Okay, so we got a compound given here which contains a double bond, and we got even a phenyl group also present with hydrogen bromide HBr. Now we can easily guess the reaction, which type of reaction is this. If you add HBr to alkenes, the reaction is electrophilic addition reaction, and here also we got the same electrophilic addition reaction. This is addition of HBr to this alkene. Okay, so the options, let me see the reaction first, then you can arrive at a solution. Okay, the molecule starting with C6H5, CH double bond CH, Okay, first what happens here, HBr, acid donates a proton. So the first step will be protonation. And they've got a double bond here. So this H plus may go to any of the carbon atom, right? So it can go to this carbon or it can go to this carbon. So we got two possibilities here, or two different carbocations possible. So I taken first carbocation as A. So we got this carbocation, right? And second carbocation as B. Now we need to compare the stability of these two carbocations. You can easily guess among these two carbocations, A should be more stable carbocation because of, the carbon having positive charge is actually benzylic carbon. And we already know benzylic carbocations are more stable because of resonance. So what happens now? A is predominant compared to B. Right, once A is predominant, it means what? It forms in more concentration. So once you get that stable carbocation, the next half of the reaction is bromide attacks on the carbocation to form the product like this, in which bromine is attached to benzylic position or benzylic carbon. And this reaction, we are adding the HBr across a double bond. It's initiated with the abstraction of, we can take generally as electrophile or a proton. So the reaction should be classified as electrophilic addition reaction. So the right answer, you can see the structures given here. Bromine should be attached to benzylic carbon. So the right answer is option C. Okay, next one. Question number, today's third one. This question appeared in 2014 NEET paper. Okay, let me read the question. Which of the following compounds will undergo racemization when solution of KOH hydrolyzes? Right, racemization means it's clear again. The alkyl halide should undergo SN1 mechanism. And the first condition is it should be optically active alkyl halide. And you can see the options given here. First one is benzylic chloride. This is not having any chiral carbon atom. So there's no question of racemization for the first one. Second one is N-propyl chloride, and here also no chiral carbon atom, so there is no question of racemization. Third one, we got again, okay, which is not having any chiral carbon atom, right? So this is 1-chloro 2-methyl propane. So no chiral carbon atom, and there's no question of racemization. See the last option, fourth molecule given here. We got a chiral carbon atom here. This is chiral carbon atom because attached to 4 different groups or atoms. So if it is having chiral carbon atom, so and one more, it should undergo a reaction by SN1 mechanism, and I can see the alkyl halide given here is a secondary alkyl halide, so it may undergo hydrolysis by SN1 mechanism. So we got only one compound which undergoes racemization, and remaining all 3 are being optically inactive. There is no question of racemization in that case. So if you see the options given here, none of the options, okay, that's the right answer in this case. So the question itself wrong because the option is not given. It's only 4 will undergo racemization. Okay, next one. Okay, the next question is from 2013 NEET paper, and you can see the 2 structures given here. That's the Sawart's structures given, and you can easily convert these Sawart's structures into Newman projections to get a clear idea. Okay, for 2 structures 1 and 2 are, so the question is how these 2 are related. Are they identical, a pair of conformers, a pair of geometrical isomers, or a pair of optical isomers? Okay, first what we need to do here, I said Sawart's projections given here. We can easily convert into Newman projections. And once you convert into Newman projections, you can see the first here, this is called staggered conformation for the molecule, in which we got a dihedral angle equal to 60 degree. And a second structure given, and if we convert that into Newman projection, it is eclipsed conformation in which dihedral angle equal to 0 degree. Okay, now staggered and eclipsed conformation. So as the name suggests only, right? So they are not isomers, they are conformations or conformers. So you can see the right option for this question is a pair of conformers. Okay, next question from 2012 paper. In the replacement reaction, okay, reaction is given here, Ci, it can be taken as tertiary alkyl iodide plus metallic fluoride or metal fluoride will form alkyl fluoride and metal iodide. The reaction will be most favorable if M happens to be, okay, so which metal to be taken here so that the reaction is fastest. And you can see the reaction type here, Ci is converted into Cf. So in the place of iodine we are getting fluorine substituting, so it has to be a substitution reaction. And if it is substitution reaction, we can easily guess, okay, it has to be by SN1 mechanism. And nucleophile in this reaction should be, you can take this MF, so from this MF we will be getting F minus. So F minus will attack on this alkyl iodide, results in the formation of alkyl fluoride. Okay, now if you want to generate this F minus, so it again depends on the metal taken here. If we take metal particularly smaller, okay, because that forms a cation, and if we take smaller cation, what happens? It will be having less ionic character and more covalent character according to, we got Fazan's rule. So if it wants to be more ionic, then metal should be larger in size, or can take the cation should be larger in size. So if we take larger or the largest cation among these metal actually, okay, you can see rubidium will form the largest cation among the options given here. So the right answer for this question will be rubidium. Okay, next one. Next question appeared in 2011 NEET paper. Okay, let me read the question. Consider the reactions. Okay, we got a molecule given here, which is a primary alkyl halide. Upon reaction with C2H5OH ethanol, and is forming ether. And you can see again the reaction is, in the place of bromine we are getting OC2H5, so it's again a substitution reaction. The second reaction given here, the same substrate molecule, primary alkyl halide. Upon reaction with, now they have taken ethoxide ion to form the same structure, ether, what you got in the first step now. Okay, this again a substitution reaction. Okay, the question is the mechanisms of the reactions 1 and 2 are respectively, right? So they undergo which type of mechanism? That's the question now. So let me take the reaction now. You can see the first one, ethanol will attack on the carbon. What happens? Bromine will leave in the form of bromide, so the substitution takes place here, right? We get formation of an ether. So just a replacement of bromine by ethoxide group. Now the second one, okay, if we see this reaction now, it's just one step reaction, right? And one step means it has to be SN2 mechanism. The second, if we take, okay, in a similar way, what you're taking for the first one, ethoxide will attack on the carbon. As a result, bromine will leave in the form of bromide, so results in the formation of again an ether. Right, so I taken both reactions by SN2. Now just think, if it undergoes, okay, if we take like another aspect, if we take SN1 mechanism, now what happens? If we take SN1, you know, the first step is ionization, right? So what happens, the first substrate molecule, this one, will undergo ionization to form carbocation. You know, this is primary carbocation and highly unstable. So what happens, it undergoes 1,2 hydride shift or rearrangement to form a more stable carbocation. And you can see from primary to, you got, this is a tertiary butyl carbocation. Okay, once you get stable carbocation, then attack of ethanol or ethoxide takes place to form ether having this structure. But in the options you can see there, this is different ether, right? So we got ether like this. It means there is no rearrangement has taken place. So we can easily guess now the reaction should be or the mechanism should be SN2 mechanism, not SN1. So the right answer in both the cases, it undergoes reaction by SN2 mechanism. Okay, the next one, which appeared in 2010 paper, which one is most reactive towards SN1 reaction? Okay, the reactivity towards SN1 reaction. And if you see SN1 reaction, you know, it depends on stability of carbocation because it involves the ionization step to form more stable carbocation. Right now, let me write the structures first. You can see I taken all four structures here are alkyl halides. The first step involves ionization, right? So it means we need to break carbon bromine bond. So this bond we need to break in each of the cases, and after breaking that bond results in formation of carbocation in which this carbon is having positive charge. Right now, just see the groups attached to that. Now in the first molecule we got two phenyl groups attached, right? And phenyl will exhibit plus M or plus R effect and it will stabilize the carbocation. So we got two phenyl groups attached to the carbon having positive charge. The second one, here also will get what? This carbon will be having positive charge after breaking the bond, right? So in this case we got one phenyl and one methyl present. You know, phenyl, as I already said, plus M or plus R effect, and methyl, you know, this is electron donating group, right? By we can take electron displacement effect as plus I. Okay, if you compare these now, plus M and plus I, you know, plus M is predominant over plus I effect. Third one, we got a phenyl, okay, two phenyl and one methyl. You can see these two phenyl will stabilize the carbocation and this methyl is giving electrons to the carbon having positive charge. So it means again it's stabilizing the carbocation, right? So okay, let me take the last also there. We got in the last we got only one phenyl and two hydrogen atoms. So now we need to find in which case it forms most stable carbocation, and that should be more reactive. We can see the third structure here. We got two phenyl and one methyl. So because of two phenyl, it's more resonance stabilized, and being okay methyl present, so it also shows plus I effect. It again stabilizes the carbocation. That's the reason why. So the right answer for this question will be option C. Okay, next one. Okay, 2010 paper. This question is from the correct order of increasing reactivity. Right, just see the four structures given here. Simple haloarine, substituted haloarine, in which nitro groups are present in ortho and para position. Then you got tertiary butyl halide and isopropyl halide. The question is CX bond. Okay, the increasing reactivity of CX bond towards nucleophile in the following compounds is. Right, so again we are taken yesterday only in the last session about the reactivity of haloarenes and haloalkanes. You know, haloarenes are less reactive compared to haloalkanes towards nucleophilic substitution reaction. So if we take that, now we got two haloarenes given here, that's first and second, and if we compare among these two, which one is less reactive? We already know the reactivity. We got few reactions which are discussed in NCERT. By placing electron withdrawing group in ortho and para positions, we increase the reactivity of haloarenes towards nucleophilic substitution reaction. So what happens if you're having any electron withdrawing groups in ortho and para positions? It increases the reactivity of haloarenes. So among these two now, first and second, the least reactive should be this unsubstituted haloarene. The next comes the di-substituted one. So you can see the options given there. Only one option starts with okay, the least given as unsubstituted haloarene. So the right answer is option A, in which one less than 2, less than 4, less than 3. Okay, that's the right answer. Next one. Okay, we got 2010 again question. In the following reaction, C6H5CH2Br. Okay, the molecule given is benzyl bromide. Upon reaction with magnesium in ether followed by hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, forms X. The product X is, okay, we need to find or guess the structure of X here. The first step here in this one, benzyl bromide or any alkyl halide reacted with magnesium in dry ether, it forms a Grignard reagent. Okay, let me take the reaction. So the first one is benzyl bromide. Upon reaction with magnesium in the presence of dry ether, it forms, okay, let me not take this one. You can see this. Okay, C6H5CH2Br, magnesium in presence of dry ether, it forms C6H5CH2MgBr. That's benzyl magnesium bromide as a Grignard reagent. And the next step, once you get Grignard reagent, you can see in Grignard reagent, I have taken here the structure. So we got carbon magnesium bond, which is highly polar bond, in which carbon is having partial negative charge, magnesium gets partial positive charge. And Grignard reagents can be taken as the good sources of nucleophiles. So what happens now, as carbon having partial negative charge, it can easily abstract the proton from hydronium ion H3O plus. So what happens, this carbon ion, or can take benzyl carbon ion, abstracts the proton and convert it into toluene, C6H5CH3. Along with that, we'll get formation of hydroxy magnesium bromide. So the right answer for this question is option C, toluene. Right, next one, 2009 paper. Which of the following reactions is an example of nucleophilic substitution reaction? Okay, this is a direct question. You can see the reactions there, all easy reactions given. RH2Na will give RR. This is one of the named reaction. You got preparation of alkanes, and it's a Wurtz reaction. So this is not substitution reaction, right? Okay, RH, then H2. This reaction can be classified as a reduction reaction, not as a nucleophilic substitution reaction, because X is replaced by hydrogen here. Okay, and third one, Rx plus magnesium giving RMgX. Okay, this is preparation of a Grignard reagent, and you can see the last option there, Rx plus KOH, and you can see the difference in molecules. In the place of X, you are getting OH, so it should be in the form of like OH minus attacking on alkyl halides. So the right answer or the reaction for nucleophilic substitution is option D. Okay, next one, today's last question. How many stereoisomers does this molecule have? Right, just see the molecule here. We got presence of a double bond, and we got presence of a chiral carbon atom. Okay, they're asking stereoisomers, not just like optical isomers or geometrical isomers. We need to combine both. So number of stereoisomers we can find by, it's like the combination of geometrical and optical isomers. Right, so I taken complete structure of that molecule. And we got a double bond and a chiral carbon atom present. So we can easily find, right, optical isomers can be given by 2 to the power n. The number of chiral carbon atoms present here is only 1. So 2 to the power 1 means we are having 2 optical isomers, and they should be enantiomers. The second one, geometrical isomers now. So we got a double bond here, which can show the geometrical isomerism, and among those, one should be cis and another trans. So we got 2 geometrical isomers possible and 2 optical isomers possible. So the right answer for this question is option C. Total number of stereoisomers should be equal to 4. Right, so this is regarding the second part of haloalkanes and haloarenes. The third part will be having all remaining questions from previous year NEET examinations. Okay, if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.